Okay, guys, today what I want to do is just very quickly go over the hero journey and the various steps all at once because I've been talking about the individual steps one at a time, but I think it is good at this point to just have an overview of just what I'm thinking about when I sit down to write a screenplay. And the reason why I like it is because the blank page can be daunting, but it is far less daunting when you have a certain idea of what should be happening at a certain point in the story. Um, that is not to say that you cannot deviate from this. It is a general guideline. Does Quentin Tarantino think about this when he sits down to write a screenplay? Probably not, but we're not all Quentin Tarantino. Stephen King, when he's writing a book, doesn't think this way. He sits down and it is like revealing a fossil for him. I think that each approach is its own thing. Film is specific in the sense that if you don't have structure, some people will say you won't have a good film. I wouldn't go so far as to say that necessarily, but structure is certainly a contributing factor to what makes a good film to me. So when I sit down to plot out a story, the first thing I do is just draw out a circle, okay? I'm new to these pads, so it's a bit hard for me to draw it accurately here, but that's not too bad. Okay, just gonna draw out these coordinates here. This is basically the hero journey in spherical form. So your plot goes that way. I always draw this at first, so I'm thinking, okay, what is my possible hook? Here, I'll put hero. So I'm going to establish the world of the hero. The hero is going to be called to action and refuse it. Sometimes this is literally the call and the refusal literally happens in, a bar, and someone will say no to the request, and by the end of the conversation says okay. But it's somewhat important for him to or her to refuse the call at first. If the call still remains refused, there's a push into action for go. They enter what is known here as, underworld or slash new world, okay? And this is normal with an A world, all right? So go 5 is going to be search slash new friends. I can't even fit it in there. Search slash new friends, okay? And so, that's where you enter a new world and you're searching, you're lost. I also call this lost slash search slash new friends. All these things happen here because you need a guide. You're in an area where you're not used to being, of course. So 5, 6, we get the approach. Okay, so you're getting close to 7, which is where you find what your hero was looking for from the get-go. Okay, the find, you can also go slash the point of no return. The point of no return, because it's literally halfway through. You're at the bottom of the barrel, and it's easier to go forward than to go back. And what's nice is that it's literally, on this diagram, it's very clear that that's what would happen, as opposed to if you drew out your timeline like this with your middle point here and your other inciting incident and other important plot points. Here it's very clearly you're at the bottom, and you sometimes what happens here is that you hit rock bottom, so you have no choice but to go forward, right? So the way it's actually drawn out helps to think about that. So let's say you find what you're looking for. So for example, Neo in the Matrix talks to the Oracle, and he finds out, oh, he's not the one, or he's not the one yet. Actually, I think she says literally, you're not the one. So the consequences of finding that out, so 8, is going to be consequences. I know you can't read my writing, but you'll get the point. Consequences. My writing's made worse by the fact that I'm drawing. So the consequences of that, for example, in the Matrix, is Morpheus is captured. So after consequences, 9 is the recover. Recover. Okay. This is when your heroes all think, oh my God, everything's gone to shit. What do we do? And then someone comes forward with a good idea, or it's a long shot, but we have to right this wrong. We have to bring the world into balance. Okay. And 10 is going to be return. Because always think when you have this, what if you don't know what to put at a certain point, like at 9 or at 8 or at 7, think about what did you have at the exact opposite side of this wheel, of the story wheel. There you go. We're going to call it the story wheel. So return. So we are returning into normal world after we went into the underworld, but the person that entered into this underworld is now changed by the adventures that they've gone through in the underworld. Okay, so right here on this one, 11, I like to call it push. Okay, because it's what's on the opposite side of the story wheel here, and it's basically, the heroes make themselves known to their enemies who thought they were perhaps done for, right? So you push yourself into the new world. And then 12 is I call it the climax, but it's also some people call it resurrection and whatnot. Often this is what you'll have at the climax here, is that moment of, let's see if I can fit it in here, sacrifice. Okay, so that's the moment where your hero dies, but then comes back to life. Okay, having changed. All right. So that is a very messy way of drawing that, but hopefully that made a little bit of sense. Okay. Okay, another little drawing that helps, and I think Dan Harmon, creator of Community, talks about this. But another diagram that I like to think about is, if your character isn't changing throughout their story, then perhaps you don't have a compelling story. Okay, or I forget who has said this honestly, but if your character doesn't change in the story, then it is a tragedy, right? They are the creator of their own demise. So I believe Richard III is like that. He thinks he's king. He's gonna go down, guns blazing, and that's it. Or horse charioting. That did not make sense. I will. No, no. Moving on. So what I like to think about is, when I sit down to write, is, okay, what is the change that I want to see in my character? So first thing that I'll do is say, okay, my world is might be let's say the witch trials in England. Okay, so that is the world in which we are. But above the world, you have to think about what's the character change that's happening. Um, it could be something as simple as, ooh, I can't write. Learn. Ooh, geez. Learns the importance of family. Okay, that's sort of a terrible example. Let's come up with a new one. Let's use an example of a film that we actually know. Okay, so Last Samurai. So I draw a line, and this is plot. Physical world. All right, so this is the outer things that are going to happen. So in Last Samurai, it is American soldier taken prisoner in Japan. Okay. But now above that has to be, what is the emotional pull? What is the character change that is going to happen? And, or the healing that's going to happen? How's this guy going to change? And in a, you know, in this case, it is overcomes the demons of his past. Okay, so we know that in the Last Samurai, what happens through by going through the story engine or the story wheel, he's transformed into from a soldier with PTSD to a somewhat of a Japanese Buddhist with a sense of purpose. Okay, so that is the other thing. He enters this world and gets a sense of purpose. Okay, so how do you actually draw that out? I will tell you how you draw that out. So, two things. Let's think about our physical world. Okay. Let's draw a circle for that same world. So, remember how I was saying the normal world is up here and the underworld is here. Okay, so what are our normal world and underworld? So, normal world in Last Samurai would be, let's say, it is Western culture. Okay, the underworld is prisoner of war. Okay, and then on the, this is the physical reality, and now let's draw another thing down here. Oh, I did that wrong. We're gonna go like this. So now this is the emotional. Okay, so what we have on this side is alcoholic, PTSD, no sense of purpose. And on that side, what we have is sense of purpose, not alcoholic. Okay, so now what we're going to want to do is bring these together. Okay, I'm kind of running out of room here, but what you will get, let's just draw a new thing, is what you'll get ultimately once you combine these together is, let's see if I can write this in. I'm gonna make my size smaller here. Oh wow, that's bad. Okay, doesn't matter. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so in the, now remember, underworld, normal world. So in our normal world, which is where we begin, which is Western culture, what is going on internally in our hero is he is an alcoholic with no sense of purpose. Okay, now remember, go. So this is where he enters into a new world. What is this new world? The new world is prisoner of war. Whoop, of war. Internally, he is still on this side of our emotional journey. So he's still alcoholic, and he still has no sense of purpose. Okay, but he's starting to work through things, right? So when we get to find, it is at this point in the story where all of this will change, at least emotionally, right? So then on this side, we now enter into the left quadrant. He is now going to be not alcoholic, sense of purpose. But again, it's not like a clean break. These things have to develop, okay? It is in the top quadrants where things are most secure, right? And there's the most contrast in terms of the character development. So then he's going to return into what? Remember, he's going to enter into the former world, which is Western culture. And for the most part, that means battle with the West. So here he is fighting for the West, and on this side he fights against the West. And remember, we are on the left side of our quadrant. He has a sense of purpose. And he's not alcoholic. I don't know if you could actually read my writing there, but if you have this drawn out, if you're preparing your character and you just plot out these points, at least, even if you're going to write down and you don't know exactly what's going to come about story-wise, at least this way you have a sense of like, okay, I should be aiming this way. Like, what can I introduce to my character that's going to lead them towards developing in this way, towards this change, right? So yeah, that's primarily what I do when I'm planning out a screenplay. And sure, it's this makes it much easier, but at the same time, if it was easy, if screenwriting was easy, I would have, a million screenplays written right now. Hopefully soon I will have much more, but this helps a lot. Okay. Boom.